Hi, welcome to the Authentically You Show. I'm Dr. Julie Ducharme, and it is Valentine's Day, so I'm wearing my pink today. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you. And this show is a show where we get to talk to people doing authentic things around the world. I love this because I meet amazing people who usually end up becoming great friends and business partners, and we do all kinds of wonderful things together. And we get to learn just something new and positive happening in our world. Just as a reminder today, our show is brought to you by Synergy Learning Institute, a technical vocational college where we support not only professional development, but also our veterans transitioning out of the military, where we offer educational programs and one we're very proud of, Combat Boots to Heels, which serves women veterans around the nation and actually soon to be serving many women veterans internationally. And as well, to support this program, we have a wonderful event called Lead and Empower Her She Talks. It's a tour that travels the nation and hits many different states, giving women a platform to share their voice. And many of these women that we recruit for this are women veterans as well. And all the ticket sales go to support our program, Combat Boots to Heels. And our next event is coming up in Houston on March 11th. We have an epic lineup of speakers, an amazing event happening. So if you want to get your tickets and learn more about what we're doing, go to leadandempowerher.com, click on tour, and you will find the Houston event and those tickets. And we have many more dates coming as well. And I'm excited today because one of our She Talkers for Houston, I am interviewing today. So Candice Montgomery is a serial entrepreneur who is now training others who want to be entrepreneurs and make their dreams come true with business coaching, business camps, and so much more. I'm really excited to have her on the show. Candice, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dr. Julie. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, I love getting a chance to interview our She Talkers because one of the reasons we created the platform was to give every woman a voice from anywhere in the world, right? Many times I hear people say, I really wanted to do this talk, but they told me I wasn't popular enough, or I didn't have enough followers, or I didn't have enough money. And our platform is so different from that because we really want to support and advance each other. And I love what you're doing because, you're not just an entrepreneur, but now you're changing your stride a bit and you're starting to give back and help other entrepreneurs recognize their dreams. But before we go into that, I'd like to step back a bit and have you give us the backstory of how you became an entrepreneur, how you ended up becoming a serial entrepreneur, to this point today where you're now giving back.
Well, yeah. So I want to say happy Valentine's Day as well. Today celebrates our 30th Valentine's Day with my husband and my son.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. But so that he was the reason why we got started in business. It was really his passion. He studied HVAC and he was like, one day I want to have my own business. So I just made a list and started going because that's just the kind of person that I am. I just go for things, and I don't. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So I was 22. We had been married just about 2 years, and we had no experience in business. So, like I said, I made my list, and then I just started trying to figure things out because back then there was no Facebook, there was no Google.
Yeah.
It was just, figure it out as you go. And I mean, while my mom did hair and she had her own salon and my dad dabbled in business, it was never anything that was like what we're experiencing. So it's been life-changing for sure. We've had a lot of ups and downs. And so now I want to help others to do the same thing. And it wasn't even my idea to have that happen. It was one of my friends and mentors. She was like, you really should do a course. You really should do something because you have so much to give. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. Why not? So I was like, no.
Yours. Yeah.
I'm not a teacher, but I posted something this week that was just like, my mom always told me as a kid that I was going to be a teacher because I loved office supplies. I would always go to the store and I would just be like, I love this. I want to buy this. And so it's like, I'm not going to be a teacher. So
Well, you know what? I said the same thing as well. Everyone in my family was a teacher, and I was like, "Nope, nope." And lo and behold, here I am teaching at universities. So, well, and something you mentioned, you said, as an entrepreneur, when your friend said, "Do the class," oh, sure, like, yeah, I'll do it. That is what we are as entrepreneurs, right? Because we become this. We're not a one-trick pony. As an entrepreneur, you suddenly have to learn how to do payroll, how to do HR, because when you're first starting out and you have no money, it's like you gotta figure it all out on your own, and I, like you, started my first business around 22, 23. There was no internet, there was no I mean, now everything's streamlined. We have internet and streamlined payments and all this stuff, but there's none of that. I mean, I for a long time, I still had paper receipts and the whole
Mhm.
thing, and I was going to Staples and buying those things, which I love those too. I loved it all. Um, so, and I love too that you said, okay, we're just going to start a business, right? Some of the most amazing things that have happened, someone just decided to start a business and they figured it out as they went. So you have an HVAC company. I
Mhm.
think you said you have a salons as well. Is there another company? Do I have them all right?
So yeah, so we have the HVAC company that we started in '96. I have my spray tanning studio, which originally started out as a tanning salon in 2001. I started spray tanning in 2002, and then I completely converted to sunless as the first sunless in the area, probably in Texas and maybe the United States only salon. And
Mhm.
so I've been doing that for 21 years. And then I have started the online in the online space, mentoring and coaching. I don't really like coaching, but educating, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Well, I love it because I think I was talking about this the other day on another podcast with a friend, and we talk about these moments of transition in our life where we feel like we need to have more impact.
Mm.
And I think that's where it seems where you're at right now, as well as having that impact and helping others maybe skip over the tough steps that you had. And maybe you could mention or touch on maybe one of those kind of tough areas that you and your husband had to figure out along the way. You mentioned some of your blogs and websites, you had many failures, but as well, many successes. So maybe we could touch on that as well as a lesson learned that you had.
Yeah. So I think one that kind of holds true, holds in my head is that I was going to Dallas, so I'm about an hour from Dallas, and I was going to a class for our supplier, something I don't even remember how many years ago. And so I get there, I get checked into the hotel, I get into my room, and then for whatever reason, I was checking the bank or doing something, and it was like, oh my God, our bank account is negative. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I went back to the front desk and I'm like, I'm sorry, I have an emergency. I have to leave. And I don't really even know. I mean, now I don't remember what happened, but I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I remember calling my dad and I'm like, Dad, I need some help. I need some help. I need to figure out what this is. I just need to figure out what I did, And so the learning lesson or the lesson learned is just that it's going to happen. We're not perfect and we're not always going to do everything right. We're going to make mistakes. And, I don't know the true statistics on that, but I know like Bill Gates, for example, I think he filed bankruptcy like 3 times or
Oh,
something like
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
before he
Donald
was this
Trump 7 times, I think.
7 times. Okay. I thought it was more. And I was like,
I think it's 7. I don't quote me on that, but, I love that you're transparent about that because that's so real and it's so
Mhm,
true. Every entrepreneur has had a moment where their bank account is in the negative,
mhm,
and that's the moment where you have to decide, "Okay, am I gonna have faith and keep pushing because it's gonna change, it's gonna get better?" That's the really tough part, and I think that, a lot of people aren't transparent about that, like, and so many successful entrepreneurs have said, "Oh, yeah, I've been bankrupt. I've been in the negative. I didn't know where my next 10 cents was gonna come from. I was selling off things here so I could make ends meet." And then you look at them down the road and they're multimillionaires or they have all this success. And so I appreciate you sharing that because and I like too that you reached out for help, that
mhm,
you asked your dad, right? Because sometimes we don't do that either. And it's like, I just had someone the other day say to me, that they'd be glad to help with a thing I was doing anytime, just ask. But if they don't know, they don't know. And I was like, wow, that's so important. Me being a very independent woman, I don't ask for help much
Mm.
because I think I can figure it out on my own. And so seeing you do that and being willing to say, you know what, dad, like, I don't know what's going on. I need some help. I think that's a great testimony because any entrepreneur is going to have that moment in their life. So, as you've been growing as an entrepreneur and you've been growing these businesses, so you've been in business, how many years have you been in between all the businesses?
June will be 27 years.
Okay. So yeah, you're beating me. I've only done about 23. So 27 years with successful businesses. That's a great run. You have a blog and you touch on some great things in this blog. And so one of the things you talked about was what are three things you should know before starting a business? And I think this is important because a lot of people kind of just throw caution to the wind and be like, let's start a business. And so I think this would be great to hear what are those three things that you do?
So, like I said, with the previous story, things are not going to be, they're not going to go as planned. So that's okay. I mean, we can't be perfect all the time. We can't make everything work all the time. And in order to learn, we have to fail. So it's okay. And you have to give yourself grace. And I've struggled with that over the years, but I continue to learn every day still to this day. So the other thing is that you will never feel like you're qualified. And I can say that for sure because talking with you, this She Talks is the first time I'm going to be speaking. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have done that. And I am so thankful for the opportunity to be able to get up and speak. And I keep telling my husband, oh my gosh, I'm going to be talking in front of real people, like live people. And so he's just like,
And it's going to be wonderful women who are going to be cheering you on. And I like that you mentioned, we don't always feel what was it? Like I forget the word you
qualified.
used. Qualified, thank you.
Mhm,
Um, and I think women do that a lot,
mhm,
and I don't know why. I think it's a cultural thing, because I grew up in a great family. My parents always told me I was worthy and to go after it, but
mhm,
I can't tell you how many times, even at this stage, at 45, when I've been super successful, I'll use an example. I was just in a negotiating meeting the last couple days, and I'm in this meeting, which I'm very qualified to be in. I absolutely should be in, but it was absolutely terrifying at the thought of speaking up because I make the joke, I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I'm surrounded by the smartest people, which is a great thing. But sometimes I don't want to say anything to the other smartest people in the room. And so today, one of the things I did was speak up at a moment that I really knew I needed to, even though it was absolutely terrifying. And it was very impactful what I said, and it was needed, and it helped with closing a negotiation. But, I was telling my husband, even at that moment, it was kind of like, I'm so qualified for this, but why do I feel so unqualified for it?
mhm.
And I think that's something that is great to recognize is that we're not always gonna feel qualified for it. But I used to have this joke when I started out teaching at the college, right? I was young, I was 23, and they'd be like, we need someone to teach this class, right? And everyone else would be like, I don't know that. And I'd be like, do you have a book? And they'd say, yeah. I'm like, give me the book, I'll teach it. And my philosophy was like, I'll just read it and I'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's important to know that we may not feel qualified, but we're so much more qualified than we are. It's such a good point. So another thing you talk about in your blogs is some tools for every entrepreneur they need to start their business. Now, I know that there's probably a long, long list of these, but what are maybe some of your favorite tools that you thought were essential for starting a business?
So we have been using Trello for like the past year or so. Really like it. I have three VAs, and we're able to communicate and keep our projects organized. So that's been a really important one. They, of course, did not have that whenever we started, and it was like paper and pencil. And I remember like a Palm Pilot. And I mean, that's probably dating me way back there. And people are like, what? What is a Palm Pilot?
I know what Palm Pilot is.
So that's an important thing for me is a project management, somewhere where you can keep up with your task and what
Yeah.
you're doing and kind of where the process is. So nowadays there's so many more new tools that can be used, and they're free tools. So you don't
Yeah.
always have to have something that you pay for. Another thing that we use is Slack, and that is for us to communicate back and forth. You can also communicate with other people that you're working with that are outside of your organization. So if you're a solopreneur and you want to work with somebody on doing something in marketing or doing something in sales, you can invite them to your Slack channel and y'all can communicate back and forth there. So
Mm,
that way you have everything in one place and you're
yeah.
not doing the whole text messaging or emailing back and forth, and you can have that there, and it's not going to take up space somewhere else, and it's not going to get lost somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's really important. And then I think another one that is really great now, and this is something that's really kind of new to me, is I had all these processes in place years ago. I was really organized because I did everything, and I was like, okay, this is how you do it. And I always typed up everything. But now you can do Loom or any of the other kind of video recordings so that you can document your processes
Mm,
and be able to have that available for whenever you do have someone come on board with you to
yeah.
be able to help you. And then you don't have to train them so much.
Mhm.
They can be able to pick it up and say, okay, I need you to do this. And they can go watch a video of how you do it, how you want it done. And then you can go do it. They can go do it on their own, and they don't have to take time to learn how to do it from you.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, well, and recently we just started using Slack. I know I'm, like, probably behind the times on Slack, but I was forced into it by some clients and stuff. And it took me a little bit because in my mind, I was just like, "Oh god, another thing to check during the day, like another" but it's actually come in handy, and I agree with you. It's a good place because especially with Gmail, you can just get this forever long list, and then you're going back through trying to find where that is.
Mhm.
So, I think those are all great. And the videos too. We've been doing that a lot with our apprentice program, and then we're saving those for then the next round to comes in. And it is a little work up front, but then once you have it in place, it makes life so much easier. And I'm all about streamlining business. And I have to get better at it, I would say, because like you, I've been doing this a long time and I get comfortable in my methods. And then it's like you have to bring in more people, and it's like I have to change my method, but this works so well for me right now. But like you, we didn't have ton of that. Now we have so many things at our fingertips. We're trying to, as well, just like you, work to find the best way to streamline. So I think that's fantastic. The last one I saw on your blog said self-love and care for a business owner. And so I wanted to ask, what does this mean? Because that sounds really good. And
Yeah.
I know as an entrepreneur, I am really bad at taking care of me first. So what does self-love and care for a business owner mean?
So I agree with you. I am so bad as well. I have so many other obligations, as do most women, with their family and their children and everything else besides business. So the big thing is you need to set boundaries for yourself. You need to just establish that you cannot do everything. I have to remind myself of this all the time, and know that you're going to upset some people whenever you do that, but that's okay. You have to protect you, and that's the part that's going to help you flourish. Um, Taking breaks. I'm again really bad at that. I will find that I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop working right now. I'm going to stop right now, and then I'll end up working from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, or I'll stop
Yeah.
and then I'll go back in there and I'm like, because I get excited about things. I'm like, oh, I got to
Yeah.
keep working on this, got to keep working on this. And then it's days later, I realize, oh, I'm really kind of tired. I shouldn't have done that. I'm like, I need to take a nap.
Yeah.
So, in
Mhm.
organization is really important for me, but probably the nap, getting sleep is probably the most. I'm like, I need a nap during the day. So,
Yeah, yeah. I resonate with all of those. I am a total workaholic.
Mhm.
I love what I do, but I'm also I want to, like you, go get it and accomplish it. And I definitely can find myself doing that where I'm just literally working from 8 until whatever. And I myself have had to do that. I put a timer so I make myself take a lunch. I take a break when I pick up my kids from school and try to be really present, and then usually pop back on before bed to check things. But I really had to start putting limits, like you said. For myself, I had to start making it so that I didn't do any meetings before 9 in the morning. So I had time to take my kids to school, drink my coffee, do a workout, like do me time. And I'll tell you, it took me 20 something years to get that in place. Really. It's only been over the last couple of years that I've really tried to shift that. And it's because, as you said, if we can't be at 100%, then we can't be 100% for everyone, right? Our family, our business. And I have to ask myself, I made myself ask this question. Can this wait for tomorrow? Will anything change if I work on it tonight? And if the answer is nothing's gonna change, I can work on it tomorrow, then I just put it down and I walk away from it. But that is very hard for a work. I like to say I'm a recovering perfectionist and a recovering workaholic. Because it happens. So everything you're saying resonates with me. Now, as we're coming to the close of the podcast, I wanted to touch on some of the things you're doing. I saw that you have a business basics boot camp, a 3-day challenge happening February 21st to 23rd. Can you give us a little information on what that is?
So it'll be 3 days of just some quick things that you can learn to implement for getting organized with your filing. Like learning about domains and trademarkings, business names, and then also project management. So kind of Trello, or my assistant, my VA, she's amazing, Savannah, and she has just started us using ClickUp. So that is something new, but I'm not going to teach on that because I don't know it enough.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so this is great. So who would you suggest going to this? Is this first time business owners or even maybe people who haven't even started a business?
Yes, definitely. So if you haven't started a business, if you're new in business, or even if you've been in business, a couple of years and you just need some fresh inspiration to know what to do. I touch on that a lot. In my course, I do the same thing. So I talk about that to kind of bring to light things that people don't talk about and don't teach about business. They teach you all these other things, but they don't teach you all the basic things that you need to know to get started.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we're getting ready She Talks is coming up in 4 weeks. For those of you who are listening, you'll get a chance to meet Candice at her first debut there. And that's going to be in Houston on March 11th, 9 to 3. You can get your tickets at leadempowerher.com. And here's a couple things you can do as well. If you can't attend the event, but you like to scholarship someone, you can scholarship a woman to come. Now, we typically scholarship a lot of our women veterans because all ticket sales go to our women veterans and the veteran program called Combat Boots to Heels. But you can scholarship any woman to attend. And you can even purchase a table and scholarship 8 women to go. So if you're interested in anything like that, go to our leadempowerher.com website. You can message us there. You can also see the schedule coming out soon when Candice is going to be speaking if you want to come and support her. And of course, you can go and click on each one of our speakers' pictures and bios, and it'll give you all their information on them. But we're super excited to be adding Candice into the Lead Empower She Talks family. As I always say, Candice, once you're in, we got you. We're not letting you go. So make sure that you guys check out everything that's going on with Candice. Obviously, if you missed this, maybe you're listening, working out, we'll have all the links in the post when they go out as well. So as I always say, live, love, laugh, and always be your authentic self.